welcome to this week's Karma Cards. A lot to go over, but this week I really wanted to focus on the idea of resistance to moving forward. And the reason I'm bringing that up has to do a lot with ascension energies that are coming in, that have been streaming in at this time. Over the last few months, we've had a lot of intense solar energy coming in, including an X-class flare, which is a really big type of solar flare that we can get, as well as sunspots and all these different things that increase the solar radiation that comes to our planet. And as we receive this solar radiation, we also receive types of upgrades. This is the Ascension upgrade package, if you will, and it's literally working on us on the cellular level. As I've said before, we're shifting from a carbon-based being to more of a plasma-based being. And it got me thinking about how in the movies, a lot of the times they call this mutation, right? They talk about the mutants. Like if you think about, what is it, X-Men, right? Mutation often happens in sort of a field of radiation. And we are sort of experiencing that. I mean, the more increased solar activity we have, the more solar radiation we receive. Although I don't think of it as a negative thing, but that is kind of the idea of it. And with all of this incoming energy, we have a physical response to it. And many times it has nothing to do with the quality of energy that's coming in, but rather what's still in our system that's not a vibrational match to the higher energy doses we're getting. And what that can look like are different symptoms happening in the body. And what I've noticed recently with myself and even some of my clients is a lot of issues seem to be coming up in the legs and the feet. So from the hips all the way down to the toes. And what's really interesting is when you look at the messages correlating with this part of the body, or this area of the body, if you will, is a lot of resistance to moving forward. And I've been really thinking about this because not only have I been experiencing it myself, I've been watching and talking to a lot of people who are also experiencing these issues. And we're all getting that same message, is that we have to address a resistance to moving forward. So I wanted to go over with you that. Just make note, has anything been occurring? Like, have you been having accidents that have been involving the feet, the legs, the hips, that general area? Have you had old injuries that feel like they're flaring back up? Have you been having chronic misalignment or aches and pains in the joints of these areas? Because all of that can speak to different resistance to moving forward. And I just wanted to share a few of these areas with you and see if there's a message that you can receive from those areas. Because as I've come to understand, true healing occurs when we understand the message that the body is holding. So let's start with the hips. If you're feeling any kind of discomfort or pain in the hips during this period, that can indicate a resistance or fear to making any kind of major decision. It can also indicate that you don't feel self-supported. If you're feeling or having sensation in the thighs, this is also another indicator of a fear of the future or moving forward. Anytime any joint is involved, this can indicate some hurt feelings that you're still holding on to. The knees have a lot to say, so I'll go over a few messages that are associated with knees. Sometimes it can mean an unwillingness to be flexible in your own life. It can mean not wanting to bend to authority. It can be an indicator that your ego is getting in your own way. It can also mean that your pride is getting in the way, or that you're feeling stubborn and demanding to get your own way. So there, as you can see, the knees have a lot to tell us. Legs are also about a fear of moving forward and a fear of change. Anything coming up in the ankles can oftentimes allude to a fear of failing or feeling unstable in your present situation. Feet also indicate a fear of the future or not liking the direction you're currently heading in. And toes indicate that you're worrying about minor details about the future. So hopefully, if you're experiencing any kind of ailment or symptom in any of those areas of the body, you know that it's generally about moving forward, but now you have a little more detail about what part of moving forward might be creating resistance for you and a little bit of pain. So a couple things I want to share with you just about what's happening in general. One, we've got a full moon in Leo coming up. So this is the perfect time to get in touch with whatever those messages are. Try to understand them so that you can work on letting them go. Because as we hit a full moon, it's all about releasing and letting go. And of course, I'm going to be doing a full moon spirit circle on February 5th, which is a Sunday. So if you'd like to join us for that release work and focusing on healing, you can join me at the link here in the description, and the link is in the bio. Also, regarding moving forward. So we're in a time period where goals are at the forefront because it's the beginning of a new year. So people are still focused on, where do I want this year to go? And when you have that focus, you have a lot of drive and excitement to take action. Now, this year has been really interesting because we started out feeling like it was harder to take action. A lot of planets were still in retrograde, and our first lunation was a full moon, which was about letting go of the past. And it wasn't until after the 22nd of January that things started feeling like they had forward momentum. And so we're, one, a little anxious to get things going this year, and two, because we're so focused on these goals and the things that we want to create, we're ready to have them happen now. And it's usually within the first, 1 to 2 months of the year that people really push towards a goal and then they fall off the track. I've heard that the average length of people staying on track with trying to create a new habit is about 17 days. So that's not a lot of time. And what that indicates to me is that with any change that we're trying to make in our life, with any goal we're trying to hit, naturally comes resistance. Look, if we weren't resistant, we would be there already. So if we're seeking something that we don't currently have, what it can indicate is that we also have a resistance to this thing. And it can be a very frustrating place to be because part of you genuinely wants it and wants to move forward and progress. And another part of you is seriously dedicated to preventing you from getting that thing because of a belief it has around it. And when we don't address both parts, what ends up happening is we ride that adrenaline wave until we hit a first challenge. And the first challenge, if we don't have an understanding of what the resistance is about, will usually be the death knell to that goal. So one of the programs that I work with people on is I work with them on creating aligned productivity where there is a focus and we intentionally address our resistance and try to understand it so that we can incorporate and move through it. And that program is called the Mercury Pod. And I offer it every single month, and enrollment is open now. So if you'd like to join and really move through that 17-day hump and right into progressed traction and creating real habits and change in your life, you can go to the description and check out the Mercury Pod link there. Like I said, I offer it every month. So if it feels like it's a good time for you to jump in and you're ready to take that aligned dynamic action, I'm there to support you 100%. But just know that the message we keep getting is that it's a time to assess or reassess relationships to dynamics like our goals and like our associations with what we're going to get. Because believe it or not, sometimes we have a resistance to moving into that place based on the story we tell ourselves about that thing, like having more money or having more power. Things like that, believe it or not, we can have really strong feelings about those that keep us away from them, even though we really would like to experience more of either one. And so If that's something that you're struggling with, but you want to work through it, just know that I have a lot of resources that can help you. And of course, we can also check out the karma cards and hear what they have to say. So let's do that now. Right. If you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, one in red, which is action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel, what is it you need right now? Are you looking for action related guidance, or do you want to kind of generally feel about how things will turn out for the week? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for February 1st through February 7th. And the flavor of this reading, we have the South Node. Not one of my favorites. Not a lot of movement with this card, but it's a necessary card. In the sign of Capricorn, which is related to goals. It's related to outcomes and what we want and what we put out in the world. In the 8th house, tricky. This is the house of mystery. It's life, death, and taxes, and all the mysteries in between. So it's about shared resources, it's about power, and it's also about what we can't see or know. And a really fun fact about this reading is that the current South Node point is in Scorpio, and Scorpio rules the 8th house. So this is very much in alignment with what's happening astrologically at this time. All right, for those who are choosing action, your spiritual action is to remember your goals as a life or death issue. So goals are important right now, still at the forefront. And the reason why is your goal is like a North Star. It gives you a sense of direction. It helps you pick your path and have a sense of purpose about where you're going. So it is very important to focus on your goals at this time. The mental action at this time is to reconsider the day-to-day reality of getting and using power. Okay, so here we are at this point where the South Node is about reflection. It's about looking back and trying to figure out what we've learned. And it goes hand in hand with what I was talking about earlier, about trying to understand the resistance. And in this case, it is your relationship to the idea of power and how it is used every day. So we're being asked to reconsider what getting and using power looks like on a day-to-day basis and kind of investigate our belief structure around it. Because if you're in resistance to, let's say, moving forward and attaining your goal, the version of you that has attained it is a more powerful version of yourself. It has manifested something you desire. Therefore, it is more powerful. So if we're in resistance to moving towards that, then we do need to reassess our relationship or our story or our belief system around the idea of power. Physical action at this time. Now is not the time to use the most business-like way and use other people's resources. So again, you can't get this from a book. Your relationship to power is very personal to you. And even if I were to share with you my ideas, beliefs, or relationship around power, it wouldn't serve or help you. So the message in general here is there's no shortcut. You got to do the inner work and ask the questions of yourself. You can't find the life hack in this moment because the answer only exists within you. All right. For those who are looking for outcomes with the South Node in Capricorn in the 8th house of mystery, your spiritual outcome at this time, there will not be the dedication to achieve personal power. So again, it's not a time of getting it. It's a time of trying to understand it. I'm guessing what they're trying to say here is that we won't fully get it until we understand it, which makes sense. Mental action at this time, anxiety about focusing on the mysteries of life. So even though that's what we're supposed to be doing is, going inward and assessing our relationship with personal power or getting what we want, there is this general feeling of like, I don't want to do that right now. Maybe I get the anxiety is actually about, I want things to get going. I'd like to keep moving forward right now, or I feel like I've contemplated enough. January was sort of a wash with contemplation. I'd like to move forward. So there is a resistance to looking inward, or at least it doesn't feel as easy as it could right now. Physical action at this time, trouble resulting from the rules imposed by a major change. So going back to what I first was talking about was all this incoming solar energy that's mutating, or it's changing us. And this is a major change that's happening on an internal cellular level because we are ascending, and it is part of that process. So part of it is that you're trying to do your life right now, right? Like, just because we're in an ascension cycle doesn't mean your daily life and the things that you need to do day to day stop. It means it's happening on top of your life. And what they're trying to say is that this week, it's not one of those things that feels like a flowing, easy moment. Rather, it feels like, why the hell do I have to deal with these internal concepts and feelings right now? Because I'm trying to get shit done. And I totally get that. Sometimes I feel like, that particular message feels like it's directed at me a little bit. And so if you are right there with me, thank God I'm not alone. But you know that feeling where it's like, I've done the inner work, guys. I've already assessed this, and yet the message remains, you need to dig deeper because we're at another level. We're going deeper into this transformation, and the inner growth and reflection is a part of that. And so whether or not you want to do it right now, that's what you're being called to do. And the universe, your higher self, and even your body will be facilitating you slowing down to consider these concepts. Moving forward will not be easy breezy right now. There will be hiccups and trouble if you are not also adding in this deeper level of self-understanding and introspection, because doing those parts eases this journey. And so it's required if we want this to go smoother in general. So again, not maybe the most smooth sailing, energetic feeling week, but a very powerful and pivotal week for us to get some things at a deeper level so we can continue to progress forward. So with that, I hope that in spite of having this feeling of a lot on your plate or a lot you want to get done, I hope you do take the time to touch base and consider if any of these things are getting in the way, and contemplate, what's the story I tell myself about that, or what is my belief about that? And I hope as you do that, you shift and things start to feel like they flow a little bit more. With that, I'm sending you so much love. Mwah. My name is Therese Tucker, and I want to welcome you to Mercury Pod Coaching. I created this group coaching program to help you move out of procrastination and into traction towards your big goals. I know how it feels to dream really big and then all of a sudden find yourself sitting there spinning in place, not getting anywhere closer to your goal. It can be really easy to get caught up in feeling flustered and confused and not know what action to take, and so you completely stop taking any action at all. If this sounds familiar to you, then there's a good chance that you've got some mindset blocks in the way that are preventing you from taking actions right now that can get you closer to your big dream and create real change in your life. Here's what you need. You need someone who can see those mindset blocks and help you get out of indecision, move into inspired action, and do it quickly. And that's where I come in. So what is the Mercury Coaching Pod? It is a 30-day coaching program where you will have weekly coaching calls live with me to help you implement your plans and take action now. In this group coaching program, you will also get one private session with me where we can completely deep dive into what it is you're trying to create, and I can help you create the action tasks that you're going to need to complete in 30 days to get ahead. If you're ready to jumpstart your goals and get going right now, then you are the perfect person for this pod coaching program. So if you're interested, hit the Get Access button below. And of course, I look forward to seeing you in the Mercury Pod Coaching Program. All my love. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.